Oh boy, I'm wearing a lot of hats today. How are you doing? Am I pretty in pink today? Comment yes if you think I am. No, I'm just kidding. All right, give me a 1 in the comments if you are watching this live. If you're watching this on a replay, give me a 3. And today I'm going to focus on the things I've learned by hanging around millionaires and my billionaire mentor about how to really focus on growing your business. So we're going to talk about one of the biggest mistakes I see entrepreneurs make, and there's a reason for it, because when you start a business, you typically have a lot more time than you do money. So because you put in that grind and that grit and that blood, sweat, and tears, you're doing everything. And as you grow, if you're not careful, you keep doing everything. Then you buy into this crazy limitation that says, if you want something done right, do it yourself. That's a suicide belief for a business and entrepreneur. So what you have to learn to do is you have to take on, or take off, I should say, more hats. Maybe you're doing marketing and you hate marketing. Maybe you're doing the books and accounting. You need to take that hat off. Maybe you're doing CMO, more CMO stuff, and then the accounting, and then you're doing managing and you hate doing managing. I mean, you can go on and on and on. The goal is to take off as many hats as you possibly can, and we're going to talk about that today. And more importantly, we're going to talk about which hats do you take off and which hats do you keep. All right, so... And also, while I'm at it real quickly here, I am going to be doing an incredible program coming up right around the corner on showing you how to dramatically grow your business. And I'm going to be sharing strategies with you how to get massive amounts of leads. Also, how to take, let's say, especially if you're a speaker, author, coach, or a consultant, how do you take, say, a 6-figure salary and condense it literally into one day or one event? I'm going to pull the curtains back and I'm going to share with you those strategies and the strategies that I use to do that as well. All right, so let's talk about wearing these hats. One of the things that you want to do is identify the problem. So what's the problem? The problem is you are too spread thin. I am running out. I've got to get more of these markers here. You are spread thin. And the reason being, as I mentioned earlier, you often will have too much on your plate. You'll end up starting your business with a lot of time that you put in. And because of that, you've learned to do certain things. And you may have learned to do certain things very well. But what often will happen is you have a hard time letting go. So you're spread too thin and you won't let go. One of the reasons, if you're not careful, that you won't let go is because you've bought the belief, if you want it done right, do it yourself. And what happens is when you do take a hat off and you give it to somebody, they're inevitably going to make a mistake. You do. How can you expect them not to? And often, though, if they keep making the mistake over and over and over and over again, that's a different story. But you've got to learn to let go to grow your business. And if you don't let go, you'll be doing everything on your own, and then you'll also be hiring people that need to be micromanaged. And then again, that causes you to spread yourself too thin. So what hats do you let go? So that's a great question. There's a couple answers for that. One of the hats that you let go are the hats that you can replace yourself with and other people can do. Now, there are some things that you love to do that you could replace yourself and have other people do, but it's something that you love to do. You probably want to keep that hat. Now, there's other things that you love to do, like, for example, I love editing. I just enjoy editing. But even though I love it, that's not something I need to be focusing on all the time. I have to let go and have other editors and hire them and let them do some of the editing. So keep in mind, some of the things that you love to do are going to be some of the things that you're going to have to let go and have other people do for you. When I spent time with my billionaire mentor when he was alive, one of the things that he was a master at was basically just doing the things that he was really, really good at. He had a tremendous amount of charisma, an excellent communicator, an unbelievable visionary, and those are some of the things that he was very good at, and everything else he would delegate. Now, obviously, if you're a billionaire, you got a lot of money to delegate things. So where do you begin? This is where the challenge is. Where do you begin? I tell people to look at this like a chess game. A good chess player is always 3 to 5 moves ahead. So if this happens, they're going to do this, this, and this. If you do this, I'm going to make this move and come over here. But maybe if you do this, I'm going to do this. So they're always ahead of the game. So my point here is this is where you have to be incredibly intentional, which means when you get to a certain level financially, you're going to take some of that money and you're going to use that money to take off a hat and to pay somebody. Unfortunately, a lot of people, especially when they're small, they feel in their minds to take off a hat, you have to pay somebody full time. You want to begin slowly if you can. There are people out there that will take on 10 clients like you and only are happy with 2 hours a day because they have 5 or 10 hour clients. So they're still filling up their days, but only maybe with you, they're just filling up maybe 1 or 2 hours. I have a gentleman that I just bring him on as I need him. He's always on, but if I want him for an hour, I got him for an hour. If I want him for 10 hours, I got him for 10 hours. Why? Because he has other clients like me, and I'm okay with that. If you can find specific hats that you can bring somebody on, if you can't afford them for 40 hours or 50 hours or 30 hours, maybe you could get them started for an hour or 2 a day. When you start doing that, that is when you begin the process of no longer spreading yourself too thin. That's when you get the process of starting to let go. One of the biggest skills that very successful people have learned to do that I see is they have learned to let go. And I want you to stop and think about, are you able to really let go? And always remember, every time you let go, you're going to have problems. There are going to be mistakes. I'll tell you one quick example, and before I wrap up. One of my millionaire mentors that I had, he would tell me about how he was mentored by somebody. It was actually, I believe it was a jewelry business. He was in the jewelry business, and he was communicating with his mentor, and his mentor was telling him that he, out of a year, he would have maybe, this was years ago, like $10,000 worth of jewelry stolen by people on his team, which is pretty crappy. And he had one store. But he said he's going to go ahead and he wants to put 4 stores out. So some people would criticize him and say, well, if you have 4 stores, you're going to have 4 times the amount of things stolen. That may be true, but he's also going to have 4 times more the what? The income. So he had to learn to let go. And I'll never forget that. So in growing, part of growing is letting go. One of the things that I would do when I would fly in town, when I'd say I'm going out to town for a speaking engagement, come back in, when I would fly and land, I would take my airplane and we would, we'll shut the airplane down. And then a couple of us would get a tug and we'd push the airplane into the hangar and close the hangar up. That took me about 15 to 20 minutes. 15 to 20 minutes of time that I do not need to be spending. That's a hat that I don't need to be wearing. I had another pilot with me. I said to that pilot, you know what? You've done this. You've seen me do this with you a couple times. I'm going to have you go ahead and do this on your own. So what am I doing? I'm letting go, knowing that a problem could happen, whatever. So 15 minutes or so later, while I'm in my office, I get a phone call from him to let me know that he had just put the tug into the nose of the airplane. Did I get upset? Absolutely not. Why? Because I was on this journey to let go, and if I want it done right, do it yourself. I wanted to eliminate that belief out of my entire system, knowing if I want to do it right, do it myself, that I would be doing everything, and I'd spread myself too thin, and I cannot grow. It's virtually impossible. So I said to him, I get it, understood. I'll come over, and we deal with it. We have to fix the airplane and get it fixed and so forth. But that is just part of the things that happen when you let go. So if you're not willing to let go, and if you're not willing to have other people make mistakes, remember, you want people that make mistakes once in a while, not constantly the same mistake over and over, because if you can't change the people, you're going to have to change the people. That's another video. But you have to learn to let go, and knowing when you let go and grow, that there's going to be problems. Think about any company. Let's look at a Walmart. So let's say Sam Walton. I had the opportunity to meet Sam Walton years ago. Very interesting man, a lovely guy from the time I spent with him. It wasn't a lot of time. But let's say he has one Walmart, right? So he knows there are people going to be a slip and fall in a lawsuit. He knows that there's going to people wanting a line of people wanting a refund, and they're going to complain. So now if he gets 10 stores, he's going to have 10 times those problems, but he's going to have 10 times the income, and he's one of the largest employers in the world. He would never, ever, ever be able to get to that level if he bought this belief. If I want it done right, do it myself. How is he going to run thousands of Walmarts on his own? Virtually impossible. All right, so there you have it. Hope you've enjoyed today's video. If you want to join me live, it'll be another week or so. Comment the word freedom, and I will send you a link. It should be in your DM. If it's not in your DM, we'll drop it to you manually. But type in the word freedom, and you'll be invited to a online live program, which I'm also going to do a Q&A for those of you who get the VIP experience. So you'll have the opportunity to do a Q&A with me. Hope you've enjoyed this stuff. I love, love, love this entrepreneurial mindset and this business stuff. Good stuff. And I tell you what, just a couple shifts can make a dramatic change in your business, in your income, and for me, more importantly, your lifestyle. It's a game changer. All right, I'm out of here. Between now and the next time we get to chat, you know what to do. And if you don't, being this may be the first time watching my videos, here's what you do. Don't let others rent space in your head. We'll see you.